The other thing that can happen is that sometimes as we process through a trauma experience and what we've processed feels shifted, it feels more distant, it feels further away, it feels something that like something that happened in the past. That's great. But sometimes what will happen is other memories will pop up and want that attention or resolution too. It's almost like our brain is saying, oh, here, pay attention to this too. Now, these would become future processing targets, but if we're not intentional and mindful, sometimes people will feel like they're getting worse from processing rather than better. And we always want to check our work. So we always want to come back to looking at the specific target that we worked on and then reflecting as we look back on, such and such, does that feel better, worse, or the same? If we're too broad, if we just ask, are you feeling better, worse, or the same? A lot of times we're going to hear maybe the same, sometimes worse, most often we'll hear the same. That's when I'm curious. And I'll say, okay, so if we're specific instead of broad and say, as we look back on the trauma that we processed last session, and I'll name what it was that we specifically worked on, and I'll say, as you look back on that now, does that feel better, worse, or the same? Quite often what I'll hear is better. Right? If it's the same or if it's worse, I'm going to be curious about that and will process whatever is coming up for them around that now. I hope this is helpful for you. Having a good conversation about the risks and benefits of treatment and an ongoing conversation about that as we progress through treatment is really important. This is something we break down in our core training in the integrative trauma and attachment treatment model, but also in our consultation sessions. I hope this is helpful for you, and thank you so much for the important work that you do.